everyone, to another episode of Culture Junkies Live. I am going to be the host this evening, GQ. We're going to get right into the show. I'm going to introduce the people that are going to be on the awesome panel tonight because we're going to be talking about DC Fandome, and there's a lot of stuff to unpack from that. So, in studio with me is the awesome and great Daidikuji. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I believe I am well. I think I'm awake. Or am I asleep? Or is this a dream? Yeah, I'm here. Okay, cool.
Cool. Glad to have you here. From remote, we have the normal host, Kenshiro. How's it going today, sir?
What's up? What's up, Coach Junkie Nation? I am dealing with half of a hand, so this one's kind of dead. Wow. So I'm just doing things remote today, and that's all right. I'll be back next week. Not a big deal.
That sounds like a personal time gone wrong.
Yeah.
Going to well, not that personal time. Nobody wants nobody's private time. Also, we got the awesome and great Gypsy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How y'all doing today?
Doing well. What you drinking over there?
Coffee. Just coffee.
Plain, black,
go harder.
Cream.
Need to go harder.
Yeah, what'd you put in your coffee?
Coffee.
Oh, cool.
Vodka.
In other words, he's got that Jack Daniels being added to
right
as we speak. Also joining from remotes, the great and awesome Fallen Marvel. How you doing?
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Glad to be here as always.
With your Blockbuster shirt looking all dapper. And from the other side of the world, calling from the future, Miao Yin has returned to the show. How are you?
Hello, all you happy humans.
Oh, somebody.
Hey!
A Batman
And she's
fan.
wearing a Batman shirt, Batman tee.
You know, I guess I should have wore a Batman shirt.
Well,
It's DC Fandome.
Well,
Should have
hey,
joined the party.
Yeah, everybody's DC'd out except for you two. What's going on?
I got a Marvel shirt on.
I've got DC cosplay
because it's green.
I trump all of y'all.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
What which ones are they?
Got
Let's
Joker
see.
and Harley looking awesome. 'Cause I'm
Okay,
sweet.
sweet.
All right, so without further ado, let's move on. We're gonna get the show started with Run the Gamut.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
That's so true. So we're gonna go ahead and start Run the Gamut off with Kenshiro. A little bit of deference to the normal host of the show. Go ahead, sir.
I appreciate that, my good friend. So today on Run the Gamut, what I've got for you is something kind of coming out of DC Fandome, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So the rumor has been making the rounds about the Flash movie, and the Flash movie got a lot of people excited because of some of the teaser images that they showed. You know, Michael Keaton's Batman and the image with the Flash. Flash has got a cool looking new costume, which is very much overdue, by the way. But according to Heroic Hollywood, take this with a grain of salt because it is a rumor, but this upcoming Flash movie, which is rumored to borrow heavily from the very popular Flashpoint story, is not going to feature Eobard Thawne, aka Reverse Flash, as the main villain. It doesn't elaborate on if this movie is going to have any villain or which one it will be. But how can you have a Flash movie and not have his arch nemesis in the first one? So that's kind of my thing. It's like that's just kind of wild. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to, but
So we're repeating Shazam with no Black Adam again. Like I'm confused by that. Like I would be sure that Eobard Thawne would be involved in this in some way, shape, or form.
But quick question for all of y'all: is it really a good idea to put them up against their biggest, baddest villain in their first movie?
No.
He was the start of the whole thing, wasn't he?
Miao-Yin, why don't you elaborate? Why no?
I say no. I mean, like, they have a history of, like, putting the biggest, baddest up there and then crickets. Like, you don't know where to go from the next one. So, like, let's, like, not that Flash needs a bunch of introduction, but, like, let him have a movie. How about, like, let us find out in the theater who the villain's going to be? That'd be great.
Oh, you mean like people waiting?
Way to do it.
I mean, you know,
That would be.
keeping things close to the vest, not like letting everything run and fly. That's just me, though. I like surprises.
So do I.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
All right, moving on. Fallen Marvel, you had something.
Yeah. For those that are probably late to the news, I'm not sure when the release date was, but Fast and Furious Crossroads released on all major video game platforms, and it's pretty much have been met with less than stellar reviews from various reviewers and streamers and so forth. It's really hard to describe like how much of a fail this game is. Other than Polygon put it the best, like in their headline, this is not how you treat family. Like the game looks like a beta somewhere between the PS2 and PS3 era. Like I'm flabbergasted.
So
like, I don't even have words for it. Like,
Wow.
Exasperation on his face is just so palpable.
I
It's
know.
it's amazing.
Also, going what's up to the chat, the Iguana Man, King Takeem, and Shinobi21. How is all of y'all doing this evening? We are right in the
Shinlo.
middle.
Hey, fellas.
I'm sorry, was it
Shinlo.
Shinlo? I'm sorry. From here, it looks like Shinobi.
Shinlo.
And hello to Andre Cole Johnson over there, EJOBN.
How you doing? How you doing?
Tip our cap to you, sir.
So, my thing is the fact that if you guys remember the Video Game Awards, they closed the show with revealing this trailer, which I thought was kind of weird. So, but I don't know, dude, like between them releasing this game and then the movie getting pushed all the way until next year, I don't know. Like I got a feeling like the momentum for this series is finally just stalled to the point where I don't know if people are going to be interested when the 9th movie comes out. Like
Well,
that's kind of how I personally feel.
it could
But
also
that
be.
may change.
It could
may
also
change.
be because you're running into a situation that particular film was supposed to have been out by now. So maybe that's what they were banking on. And the game, looking in the state that it looks, maybe just is lackluster. And you don't have a 9th Fast and the Furious movie to piggyback off of, because that Fast movie was supposed to have been out in April, and I think this game was supposed to drop in May. So maybe that's what we're running into. But we're going to let the chat continue on this conversation, and we are going to move on to our next topic. But y'all keep it going in the chat. Also, don't forget we got a Twitch and got a Discord coming eventually, but we got a Twitch right now. So if anybody that's watching and the platform's acting funny, we got a Twitch, culturejunkies.com. I'm sorry, not .com. Culture Junkies over on Twitch.
Mix react.
All right, so for our mixed reactions, we're going to be talking about DC Fandome, some of the announced games. Right off the bat, they had 2 games that were pretty big news. They had Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and they also had Gotham Knights. So I'm going to turn it over to the panel. You guys pick out of those 2, whichever one you want to talk about. What was your reactions or your thoughts on those 2 announced games?
Finally.
All right, Gypsy, go ahead and lead it off. Right
They're going in the direction where I think if we would have aimed a long time ago, we would have seen something at least out of it as far as progress. They're giving us a game that's what we liked about like the Arkham style games or whatnot, but has no Batman in it. Good. Let him rest for a while and let everything else that's happening with him take front stage. That doesn't give us the comparison to, hey, the movie and the game and all this, blah, blah, blah. That's off to the side now. So that was a smart move on their part. And then completely saying absolutely nothing about Superman, yet giving us this game where he's depicted as the thing that has to go this time, which good. Thank you. Give me something that puts a different light on him. So I'm not thinking about the Superman that we know constantly. So when another one happens, it'll be fresh. So yeah, finally, thank you guys. Good Lord.
I mean,
go ahead, Dido.
Seeing Gotham Knights get me excited. The only thing that kind of confused me is because I looked at the trailer for Suicide Squad game. They didn't show any gameplay. Whatever they showed, can pique an interest. But then the story, from what I understand, is that Gotham Knights does not take place in Arkham's world at all. It's not a sequel. It's not anything happening after any of the Arkham stuff. what the Suicide Squad game is. So I'm like, wait, huh? I'm very much
that's not
confused.
confusing at all.
Yeah,
That's not confusing at all.
Because one looks like it should be in the Arkham, and the other one doesn't. I don't quite understand, but whatever. They both look like they're going to be fun, and they're both going to be great $20 games.
Can I say this? All right. So for me, I like both trailers. I was very interested in the Suicide Squad because you couldn't kind of really get a feel for the type of game it was going to be. You know what I mean? It's like, is it going to be a co-op based game? Is it going to be a single player game where you can kind of like pick between the different, characters in the Suicide Squad? Will you be able to like say if one of them dies or something like that? Will you be forever, forbidden from playing with them for the rest of the game? That type of deal, which I think would be an interesting mechanic. And plus, we have to wait until 2022. But as far as Gotham Knights goes, I liked what I saw, but part of me was a little underwhelmed, and the only reason I say I was a little underwhelmed is because it just looked like more of the same of what we already had. As far as like as an Arkham game, it kind of ticked all the boxes of a typical Arkham game. It had the vehicle play with Batgirl on the Batcycle, stalking enemies from above and doing sneak attacks, and even doing boss battles with partner characters like we saw kind of in Arkham Knight. So I'm not saying that the game won't be great, because I think it will be great. It doesn't leave me quite as excited as I probably would have liked if they had some new innovations. And it's early. Maybe they'll surprise us and they'll have something new. So, but we'll see.
I kind of have to agree. I kind of have to agree. I'm kind of interested to see where both games go. The fact that we got to see as much of Gotham Knights as we did, I was actually kind of surprised about, because we didn't really know if they were even going to do anything Arkham-wise going forward. It's been rumors, but no one really knew. So the fact that we got to see as much as we did, it does look very promising. Suicide Squad game, I think I'm probably more surprised about, because I really wouldn't have thought that would have been the Rocksteady project instead of Gotham Knights, which I think is kind of surprising. So, because Warner Brothers Montreal is doing Gotham Knights instead of Rocksteady, and Rocksteady's doing Suicide Squad. So, kind of makes me wonder about that. That's kind of, I don't know.
Now, the gameplay that we've seen so far from the Knights, that's going to be the multiplayer thing. So they did the split like they've done with multiple other companies, where they're giving the multiplayer game to the company who knows how to do multiplayer stuff, but yet giving the Suicide Squad to a company who knows how to do single player things, which is leading me to think this is going to be more of like a Final Fantasy VII type deal.
That's a strong possibility. Real quick out of the chat, we've got King Takeem says he just wants the Kill the Justice League tag to be a literal thing. So I guess he doesn't want it to be a situation where we almost hurt this god, but now Waller can come in and capture them Ghostbuster style. So that's very fair. But go right ahead, Jim.
Yeah. Well, no. Can I say something else? No. I totally agree with what King Takeem is saying, because that's almost like, if you're gonna do this game, if you're gonna go ahead and do it, don't do no half measures. If you're really about Kill the Justice League, then if you really want to shock the world, then yeah, go ahead and do it. Because apparently from the trailer you can see that the Justice League has probably been subverted by Brainiac, and I think that's what we saw. So they're under Brainiac's mind control. So killing the Justice League because Brainiac has them under control. Okay, are you really going to kill them? Or is it at the last second they're going to kind of break free and join your side, And that kind of would be a cheap cop-out, right?
And that's
we all agree with that.
Fair. Meow Yin, do you have anything to say on the matter?
I'm gonna confess, I haven't seen the Gotham Knights stuff yet. I have seen Suicide Squad, and I was just like, I want to go shoot the Justice League. That would be fun. So hopefully I get to do it. I love a bad Superman, so I'm looking forward to see how that plays out.
You love a bad Superman or a bad Henry Cavill?
Ah, my man, you beat me to it.
I'm just asking. Just for
Why not both?
purposes. Why not both?
Why not both?
That's
Why
fair.
not both?
Okay. Closing this one out real quick. As far as the Justice League goes, on the Suicide Squad thing, I think they're essentially trying to answer what the question that the movie posed. What if Superman came down and ripped the roof off the White House? This and that. The problem I have is the usual problem I have with Superman. Who's on Suicide Squad's team can take him out? And that's
No
probably,
one,
I think that's
realistically.
your issue. If Superman's in the game, you can take out Batman because he's just a man. Green Lantern, you might get lucky. Aquaman, who knows? Get him away from the water. Most of the rest of the Justice League, you ain't really taking them out with the Suicide Squad people. So this is going to be very interesting to see how the mechanics work on this game.
I mean,
And
You know,
maybe
when you said take them out of the water, I'm sorry.
well, maybe we'll have other characters like from Suicide Squad show up, like, to help
See,
out stronger people. I don't know.
I mean,
But they
no one
also
is
have an entire
like on that level though. Like,
no, they
One
have
at
an
a time
entire
now, one at a
cast
time.
to choose from, so it's hard to say what anything about this thing is, which is bad. They gave us enough to do exactly what we're doing now, which is to talk about it.
Mhm.
But I honestly think that it's going to be more of like a one player thing of, hey, this is our like either our exit out or this is our way into our own thing, so we don't have to be compared to anyone else. And now we got our own boom. We are the Suicide Squad team. Leave us alone, and we'll just keep giving you stuff you like if we like this one. So that's what I'm banking on. It's hopefully they don't like service this out somehow. But like you said, no one can really just stand up to Superman and punch him in the face. But there are some people who they know that can.
That's very true, but I'm going to offer this one before we close it out. Out of the chat, King to King brings up an interesting possibility. He says he can feel that as you beat or free each Justice League member, they're going to become a summon similar to Kingdom Hearts.
I think that
I
would
can
be
see
weird.
It'd be very weird, I agree.
I could see that. That could be kind of like how they did in like Spider-Man Maximum Carnage when you get like the icons and you could just use them like throughout the fight and call like another hero in.
God.
Yeah,
Like,
you never
I could
know.
see that.
You never know, because that one drops. Now,
I'm saying a single player. That would be dope because I want a single player game. I don't like multiplayer games. Sorry, guys.
You don't like playing with other people?
No.
Damn.
that's fine.
You
That's
sound
done.
like somebody else I
Like,
know.
Don't need to play
it's
with
like
others.
co-op where it's just like I have my group of people who I'm playing with online. I don't like just playing with randos online.
That is fair because
I can totally understand that.
I think like if I'm going to do it, I strictly play with people I already know. Like I don't play with random people, and plus, I mean, of course, with the young days of Xbox Live and such or whatever has shown.
I'm
that's
still
a
traumatized.
good thing. So
Trauma. Okay, well, fair enough. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing, but y'all can definitely keep this topic going on in the chat. What do you guys think is going to happen with Suicide Squad when the basically 2 years till release that they have, and then also how is Gotham Knights going to shape up? So I mean, there's a lot of potential coming up for both of these games, but we are going to move on to a new episode of The Collector. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and you guys stay tuned.
I present to you the Collector.
Hey everybody, it's Great Atakuji again, here with another episode of The Collector, and today I want to talk about my Castlevania collection. Castlevania is one of those series that I've loved for many years, and it's gotten even stronger since the PlayStation days. The NES games were stupidly hard at sometimes, but they were still fun to play. And then when the great Symphony of Night came out, now mind you, this is a green label one. It's a long story about my black label one, but what have you. it changed the game for me. Almost every Castlevania after modeled Symphony of the Night, and I collected those too, from the Game Boy Advance ones to the DS ones. I think they were all great. Now, my Castlevania collection is not complete. There are a couple of them that are missing, specifically the second one for the Nintendo 64 because the price has shot up a whole bunch, and Lords of Shadow Part 2 because people tell me Lords of Shadow is not all that good. I don't know. I've only played a little bit of the first one, and I didn't think it was that bad. One of the ones I want to point out is this game right here is not technically a Castlevania game. This was called Bloodstained. It came out last year. It was kickstarted by Igarashi, Koga Igarashi? Koga Igarashi, I think it was. It was kickstarted by Igarashi, and it's definitely a Symphony of the Night inspired type game where it is, if you were playing it and it didn't say Castlevania, you would think it was a Castlevania game. It is that fun. I very much enjoy this series. I think it's great. If anybody out there has their favorite Castlevania game, go ahead and let's talk about it in the Power is Yours section. But until then, I'm going to turn it back over to the guys in the studio.
Marlon Budai.
All right, unmute us.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching that show, The Collector. I have fun collecting stuff sometimes. If you have any questions about any Castlevania games, you can put them in the chat. We got a follow from
Marlon Budai.
Yeah, thanks Marlon out there for giving us a follow. We really appreciate that. Castlevania is one of those games I played when I was a kid on the NES, and it kind of stuck with me. And then, you know, over the years playing Super Castlevania, the opening theme song, I think it's called the the theme of Simon Belmont, if I remember correctly. That I played it when I was young on the Super Nintendo, and that music stuck in my head for years. It's still there. I can just turn it on, snaps right there. But then when Symphony of the Night came out, I swear to goodness, man, it just took it to a whole new level, like I said in the video. Anybody has any of favorite Castlevania games out there on the panel?
I mean, besides Symphony of the Night, like,
Yeah, Symphony of the Night is it for me.
Dude, you guys you gotta branch out, because after Symphony of the Night for the DS and the Game Boy Advance, there are like 6 more Castlevania games that are in the same vein, and all of them are friggin' amazing. Aria of Sorrow is probably one of the best ones, where you play not as a Belmont or Alucard, but you play another character that you have to play the game, because it's a spoiler if I tell you who he is, where he can actually suck souls from all the monsters and demons in the game and use those to power up and whatnot. But you do play with another Belmont in one of the other games called Juiced Belmont. You play with him. You guys got to get into it. You can't just Symphony of the Night it. If they come out with another Castlevania collection, you need to hop on it.
actually, I mean, look, I have played other ones. It's just that I just think that the peak for me was Symphony of the Night. They've made other good ones since. The only other one I say that I probably enjoyed just as much because I thought the gameplay was interesting, and it's probably underrated, I would say Portrait of Ruin.
Portrait of Ruin is also really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that one because I think not a lot of people talk about Portrait of Ruin.
Dude, not a lot of other people talk about other Castlevania games outside of Castlevania Symphony of the Night for some strange reason. Not saying it's bad. It is a great, if not pinnacle of it. I can't say that the series dropped until they started doing those not remakes.
I was
don't know, I guess
introduced
it's a remake.
on The Curse.
Which one?
Dracula's Curse.
Oh, the second one?
That was the third one, I thought.
For the NES?
Dracula's Curse is the third one.
Oh,
Simon's
okay.
Quest was
Simon's
the
Quest is the
second
second one, sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, that one right there, Castlevania 3 was considered by most to be the best on the NES one, most definitely. And you can tell that Bloodstained Circle of the Moon and its sequel is modeled off of that one. And if I had a physical copy, I would have put that in the collector part as well.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
Spiritual successors, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
for me, I mean, I would definitely say Super Castlevania is my favorite one out of all of them.
That
I definitely
was a
love the
good one.
music in that one. I want to go back and play Dracula X because that's the precursor to Symphony of the Night. I have a digital copy on the Wii and then the physical copy kind of for the PSP. It's that remake one for the PSP. But one day I'm going to plunk some bucks down, I guess, and just get the Switch Castlevania collection I can just have it all in one.
Well, before we move on, you mentioned the N64 sequel that is very expensive.
It's not really a sequel. It's the hell's the name of it? Yeah, it's Castlevania 64, and then they came out. It was basically like DLC. It wasn't really a sequel. It was like a cartridge DLC because they took Castlevania 64 and they added another character, if I remember correctly, and probably like a level, but it wasn't really a sequel. I shouldn't have. That was kind of a misspeak as a sequel, and I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. And for whatever strange reason, I can see the box.
But it's very expensive. So you're saying
Yeah.
it's expensive because it must have been near the end of the lifespan and just rare.
That might be the case because something that I pointed out on Facebook not too long ago is that for whatever strange reason, if it's a system that is considered a failure, the games are getting stupid expensive. And it made me think of that because of the Wii U. I saw a game that's damn near $200 for the Wii U, and I'm like, are you kidding me? $200? But the Nintendo 64, though it was really fun and popular for a lot of people, it did not sell as well as a lot of other systems did at the time. So in some people's eyes, it could be considered a failure. Some people consider it a success. But a lot of games that was on that system as well is shooting up in price.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Anybody else have anything about Castlevania that they would like to say?
I do think that there was a lot of potential for Lords of Shadow. Because I did like the first one. I still have never completed Mirror of Fate. It was decent. Still never played the second one. I've heard things about the second one, story-wise. So, like, there was potential there, but that, I think, is what started kind of, like, marking, like, some of the issues, like, between Konami and Kojima. I feel like, because it's just... I don't know. Just stuff with Konami just started getting really weird during that time, and it just went downhill from there.
Well, they had pachinko machines to make. So, Dido, I'm gonna let you, since you did find that title, I'm gonna let you close this out.
Well, it's called The Legacy of Darkness, and that's the one that's on the Nintendo 64. And if you want cartridge only, it's $81. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not paying. If you find it complete, $244. And I don't know, but anybody out there, if you call yourself a fan of Castlevania, I suggest, picking up some of the ones that I would say are not as popular because you might be surprised. Dracula X, you can download in certain spots. Pick up the Castlevania collection that came out for the PlayStation 4 and the Switch. I don't know if it's on Xbox, but whatever, who cares? But and PC. Just pick that up and you'll get the ones that are, you'll get, I think it's Symphony of Nights on there. I know you get Super Castlevania. I know you get 1 through 3.
No,
Symphony of Night's not on there?
It's not on there.
Well, they probably have another one that you can download, the Symphony of Night, because I think Symphony of Night and Dracula X, you're right, come in a different download. So get those two. You won't be disappointed. You'll have almost all the good ones minus the Game Boy Advance and the DS ones. And one day they're probably going to come out with a collection for that too. So, yay.
Very cool. Awesome. I appreciate that, Dido. We're going to have to start calling you. We can't call you the collector because
No,
I'm the collector.
I'm the
we have to
VG
figure something- we have to
collector.
figure out something. We'll.
Can't y'all
we will
both
see.
be collectors?
No, there is the collector.
Dido might be the Grand Master, but
Right.
A
Yeah.
collector.
Yeah. It can be something else.
The
We'll figure
Grand
out
Master. Wow, we'll figure it out.
figure out
Okay.
something else. But anyway, y'all definitely continue the discussion in the chat. And also, if you want to consider supporting this awesome show, because we are an awesome show. I believe we're an awesome show. Consider going over to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/culturejunkies. We've got 3 different tiers that you can choose from. And I want to give a special shout out to DeMarcus Smith, who is actually a Culture Junkies level patron. So he gets shouted out on the show.
Mhm.
So appreciate you, sir. And we're going to move
go.
on to the main event of the evening. So, going back into the DC Fandome. This
Yes,
time
sir.
around, we're going to be talking about the upcoming movies because there's about 6 movies in various forms, various, state of production that they've announced. Real quick, right off the bat, you've got Flash, you've got Black Adam, you've got Justice League Snyder Cut, which Kenshiro thought would never see the light of day. You've got The Batman, and you've also got Suicide Squad Part 2. And I think there was one other film. I don't remember what that might have... Oh, I'm sorry, Wonder Woman 84. So we got 6 different movies that we can just spitball and talk about, and
Mm-hmm.
so whoever, you know what? Who thinks that they got the best something to say? So who wants to start this one?
I do.
Fallen Marvel volunteering.
They announced that they finally put Static in production for a movie. So I'm
That
very
list is
happy
gonna be
about
interesting.
that. Like after what 15 years. So
I believe it when I see it.
that's where I'm at now because I felt the same way about the Flash movie. The Flash movie's been in limbo for
I'll
like,
still
the last-
believe that when I see it for real.
right.
All right.
Well, but Static was definitely the big one for me. So I mean, as far as everything else, I'll start off with the thing that I look forward to the most, which is that I'm looking forward to knowing what happens and if they can get their shit together and actually get it done on time. So other than that, I'll let you guys know like what you guys' biggest takeaway and all that. So whoever wants the floor next.
All right, that's interesting. That's interesting. You know what? I'm gonna throw it over to Kenshiro because I'm sure there's a bunch of characters that he would like to spout off about.
Yeah, actually, the Batman trailer I really loved, and unlike a lot of people, I actually wrote this on culturejunkies.net, and it's an article I'm gonna publish probably tomorrow. So make sure you go to the site and read it. But it's all about kind of like fans kind of jumping the gun with their assumptions of how things are going to be before they actually physically see anything. Robert Pattinson's casting as Bruce Wayne Batman was met with a lot of skepticism. Myself was included in that. However, I did say from the jump, I said, I'm going to wait till I see a first trailer because right now I don't know if he's going to be any good. A lot of people just said, oh no, it's going to be terrible just because he's in it. I wasn't in that camp. Saw this trailer and I was blown away by what I saw. I loved every second of it. In fact, I wanted to watch it again right away after I did see it because it was just that good. It was everything that was in it. It wasn't just him. It was everything that I thought was just, quality work. Matt Reeves is doing a great job. But the other thing that I really loved coming out of that convention was all the tease stuff that we saw for Black Adam. That movie has got me really pumped up. Like, The Rock was straight up. He said, look, Black Adam ain't going to take no shit. Black Adam is going to be, he's basically going to be going up against the Justice Society of America. Adam, they named off Atom Smasher, Green Lantern, Hawkman, and some other characters. He's like, I'm going to be basically showing them my brand of justice. And if they don't like it, basically fuck them. I don't care. That's pretty much what he was like. And I'm excited for that because he is like the quintessential anti-hero Teth Adam, aka Black Adam is. So I was mostly pumped by that. I'm gonna hand the baton over to Miayen. What did you like the most out of
I have
movies?
an unpopular opinion going to your Black Adam thing. So I was so excited for The Rock to be like cast as Black Adam, but after I saw all the stuff, I am underwhelmed.
No.
I am not feeling it. I'm just kind of like, I waited all this time for this. It feels like Great Value Scorpion King, and I don't like it.
Wow.
Damn! Shots fired.
Didn't I say that though?
Oh my God.
Didn't I say I mentioned something about the Scorpion King when I saw that too? I said, wait, what?
That's the vibe it gave me. Great Value Scorpion King. Now, Scorpion King done shaved his head, got a suit, and here we are. I'm like,
Okay,
Not
question on that. So are you essentially questioning The Rock's ability to play a villain?
no, because I am gonna watch it, period. But I'm just not as hyped as I was before. So, because I love The Rock, but I'm just like I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't impressed. It didn't move me. It didn't give me cheergasms or anything. So I'm like, okay, let's see what else comes out because this first look is not doing it. Like I said,
Okay.
great value, Scorpion King.
Well, King Takeem saying you bringing the savagery tonight over there in the chat, and also the Iguana Man thinks that he's saying that the smartest thing that DC did was embrace the entire multiverse thing.
I agree.
So that's
I agree.
Seems to be something that a lot of
think
people enjoy.
Speaking of that, you brought up something about the Flash movie, Dido, earlier that you talked about that touches on that. I think it was either in the pre-show or when I was mentioning about Reverse Flash, but you were saying that there's a rumor that Grant Gustin might be a part of this, and we already know that Ben Affleck's Batman is also supposed to be part of this Flash movie, which totally confirms that they are definitely embracing the multiverse angle. And they're probably going to do it in a lot more radical way than Marvel has already done it. Because if they do put Grant Gustin in it, then they will have officially bridged the gap between their movie and TV verses in a more meaningful way than Marvel has done, and Marvel Studios has done.
Well, I think it would be great if they did that because fans, they clamor for stuff like that, the stuff that they like. I mean, everybody that I know that watched that episode and in the, I don't even know what the hell they call it, but all the shows on the TV and every character from every TV show, including Lucifer, showed up. And, you had the movie Flash show up. He didn't have a name, and I think that had something to do with it because I think they're going to bridge the gap. It might start the stories of the friggin' movies. But, yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. But going back to Batman real quick, one of the things that I saw on the internet that is something that I said a long time ago. Everybody was doubting Robert Pattinson. Everybody was poo-pooing on him. Everybody was doing left and right exactly like they did with Michael Keaton back in the day. And I'm seeing memes all over the internet. I'm seeing people all over the internet talking about, before I saw the trailer or I'm like, this is going to be crap. And then after I saw the trailer, I was like, take my money, blah, blah, blah. I'm seeing it all over the place. And I called it out, and I said that was going to happen. And they're doing it. The friggin' fans out there, they're doing it. And they continue to keep doing it. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to wait and see. And then tell you, oh, yeah, he's a bad Batman. Oh, yeah, he's a good Batman. They freaking prejudged all that stuff. And now they're freaking taking it back. I've seen countless memes, countless people saying when the fandom happened.
Oh, that's fair.
The moment I got wind of this entire thing happening, I went and got a picture from the animated series that we all love. And I compared that picture to a shot that they gave us of Robert and was like, as long as they give us something dark that's not the same thing we see all the time, we should be fine. And they did exactly that. And he looks like he could belong in an exact replica of the animated series. I think they kind of found a good start this time. So that way they can give us a couple of decent movies. It's about time. And I think they got it. I've said that the moment they said he was a Batman, I was like, okay. It's like, let that one happen.
It looks like he's going to actually be a detective, too. I mean, the way they set up that trailer, you have these killings going on, and you're trying to figure out who the heck did it. That's the whole start of detective work. Like, oh, my gosh, we got to put this together. We got to figure it out. So it might be the first Batman where not only is he still fear and darkness, and I'm going to break some freaking faces to get what I want, but it looks like he might also be a detective.
All right, coming out of the chat, you've got King Takeem saying it took Pattinson a 15-hit combo to drop one random thug.
Okay, now
that's not the only time you've seen Batman do that, though.
Real quick,
I counted 11 plus an arm break last time I looked.
And then
I ran into a meme that had that, and my response was, after the third hit, you can hear the face break. The rest of those were just saying, stop saying I sparkle, right? That was all of it.
All right. And then Iguana Man over on the chat says, when Matt Reeves explained that they shot in England instead of Chicago or New York, like they always do, he said he knew that he had a hit coming.
And finally,
okay.
Yes,
now,
they
to
got
follow
this
up on
one.
to follow up on what Gypsy said too, or even to kind of counter what King Takeem is saying, I think the reason why he could have done it sooner. Like he didn't have to use all those 15 hits. But remember the setting of where he was. Batman was being approached by a gang of like five or six or seven dudes, right? This one dude stepped up. Batman beat him so savagely to say to the other dudes, y'all motherfuckers better not even try it. Because you're going to end up like this dude. That's why it was 15 hits.
That's what I'm saying.
Batman doesn't have rage issues. Like, come on. Like, Batman,
Right.
young Batman. This isn't old, grizzled, tired ass Batman.
Right.
So this is like young Batman. So he's full of rage. He's full of bounce. He's like, you're going to see some excessiveness. And I think that was what that was. I like
overacting up to do it.
I like him, I'm a Harry Potter person. I like him and Cedric Diggory. I'm not a big fan of Twilight, but I can't say that he was a terrible actor. So, like, I knew going into this that the guy has range and he can play different parts. So that's why I'm looking forward to this. As well as a lot of other things. Like, yes, Robert Pattinson was in that trailer, but that trailer had a lot of things going on and a lot of great things going on. Commissioner Gordon, anyone? Or was that Commissioner Gordon?
Right.
Like, who was that guy?
Yeah, that's
That was Commissioner Gordon. It was Commissioner
Can we
Gordon.
talk about him? Because he's a great actor. So if he's in it, in my opinion, it's going to be pretty freaking good. So.
All right.
I mean,
we spent quite a bit of time on. Hold on now. We spent quite a bit of time on Batman. There are other films that they announced. What y'all think about Suicide Squad Part 2, directed by our friend James Gunn?
Man,
Go ahead, Fallen.
I have to say this is that I am kind of looking forward to it because, for one, it seems like it's going to be fun, which is fine, but it's also got this level of unfamiliarity to it because outside of two returning characters, not counting Waller, I don't know who the hell anyone else is in this movie. Like, I'm not familiar with any of those characters. So with it having this much going for it and all the stuff that's going on with it, and plus James Gunn is proven to be a very competent writer and director. So it's with this, and I think like the movie technically is probably more or less going to be like a soft reboot anyway. So it's like it has a lot of good things going for it from what we've seen so far. So with them kind of just like naming off like the characters that they're going to have in it, they didn't release much of a plot point, which is totally fine with me. You ain't got to give away too much. But we'll get into something else that they showed a little too much of, but whatever. But other than that, I can say that it might be a day one. It actually might be a day one for DC, and I haven't felt that way about any of their movies for quite some time. So the Suicide Squad might be a day one. It might end up just being a popcorn flick or whatever the case may be, but might get my money day one.
All right. Anybody else?
So.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. I'm a Harley Quinn fan. So, and I have gotten on the Margaret Robbie's train to Harley Quinn. At first, I wasn't feeling it. I have changed my opinion over time. So I'm gonna watch it, and also Idris Elba's in it. So that's kind of like a thing I have to do. If he's in a movie, I have to watch it. So I'm gonna watch it. I look forward to seeing like more trailers, more explanation of who these people are, or not. Like if I see, if we do like how they did in the original Suicide Squad and briefly explain some of these people in the movie, that's fine too. I didn't have a problem with that. I know a lot of other people did, but it looks like a fun movie. I like how they like they kind of made it look comic booky, you know, the way that they presented it, and I'm down for that because I like comic books. So
Now, I got a follow up question actually for you. When was it that the whole thing with Harley, who actually looks really great in this movie, by the way, as far as like her costume, I think she looks really, really great. When did it flip for you that you kind of got on the Margot Robbie train? And then I got something else to say on Suicide Squad.
When I actually saw Suicide Squad, so when it was announced that she was like, I didn't like the look of, you know, when they first released the trailers of Suicide Squad and stuff like that. But in the movie, like her mannerisms, her actions, all that kind of stuff. And then in Birds of Prey, I was just like fully on board. Like I was like, after Suicide Squad, I was like, okay, you know, she did a good job. I can't shit on her for that. But after Birds of Prey, I was just like, all right, I like how this is going. So that's when it was like circle complete.
All right. Well, thank you to Mike Oliver for the like, and Kenshiro, what you got?
So I'll be honest, and then we can segue into Wonder Woman 1984. I'll be honest. This movie worries me. It looks really wacky, and I'm not convinced in a good way because there's a lot of characters. Some of the characters look, even some of their costumes look really bad. Not even just counting like Polka Dot Man or even John Cena's really goofy looking costume or anything like that. I don't know. It's just this movie looks like it's going to be fun, but I don't know. Something about it worries me a little bit.
I get what you're saying, but I think that's the point. I think some of it is not meant to be so serious because it's like that opposite of when you have the Batman going on. That's super serious. It's like everything's like pretty prim and prepped and looks like sleek, but this film is like crazy, and I think that's the point.
Yeah, that's the impression I got when I saw it too. Like I feel like it's going to be obviously it's not going to take itself seriously, and it's going to be more. They're going to try to go for like something more on the nose and probably just going to make it chaotic and fun, but make it work. And like, I think the idea is to try to be as far away from the first Suicide Squad as they possibly can, because the first movie took itself probably more seriously than it should have. And then they tried to lighten it up later, and the tone was just all over the place. It just didn't work. Outside of some performances, whatever. But I get what you're saying, but that actually might be to the movie's benefit.
Well, coming out of the chat, Hand of Omega says Guardians of the Galaxy looked wacky and crazy, but it was great and successful. And we got the same director.
To this degree. Not to this degree. I think this is beyond that. I think, to me, this is beyond that. And
talking tree.
Well, no, I mean, as far as like the amount of characters that we had, and maybe this is just because we haven't seen enough. I need to see some more before I get a better feel for it, and maybe that's just where I'm at. I feel like I need to see a little bit more because right now it looks a little bit on the too wacky side. Like, okay, some people say Guardians 2 wasn't nearly as good as Guardians 1 because it felt like it was a little bit all over the place in some areas. And I feel like this is going to be more of that, but that's just because I haven't seen enough. I feel like I need to see a little bit more. And you know, like I alluded to, some of the costumes, like that Mongal character. Oh my god, that looks terrible. I mean, that looks really bad.
But in
like, what is that?
Fairness, those are DC characters. Those are DC costumes. They're pulling out all the stops from all the old goofy stuff they used to have.
And Suicide Squad is usually kind of like comprised of like a bunch of like B-list and C-list characters. So it's like, I mean, it's like you look at Michael Rooker's Savant. Like it's
going to be very interesting to say the least.
It looks interesting, but it's just like, bro, looking at it. But it's just like, I don't know. It's like I said, like that might actually work in favor of the movie, like it being kind of wacky and chaotic like that.
Well,
so
it concerned me only slightly that out of the 2.5 minute trailer, like I think almost half of that she was in that gold suit. Like, why did they show off so much of that? Like, what are they hiding that they don't have in this that we can't see? What did they do to this thing? That's,
I mean, it was more of
that's
a
not.
character reveal than anything else. So it's just like they weren't really showing too much details about the movie. It was literally just like
This was just a name drop
character.
trailer.
Yeah, they were name
It was
dropping, but you know what?
trailer.
Here's the thing: we're going to go ahead and continue this in the "Power Is Yours" segment. So we're going, if we got to talk about Wonder Woman '84 and some of the other things, they can come up in the "Power Is Yours." We're going to turn it over to the chat. Power to the people.
Hey, so let me start it off by saying that Wonder Woman 1984 as a film, admittedly, the trailer didn't show a terrible large amount, but what it did show, I was really impressed with. I thought Kristen Wiig's Cheetah looked really good. And that's kind of like really the only thing I was thinking that they were really going to kind of show is Kristen Wiig's Cheetah. I didn't really need to see anything else after that. I'm ready for this movie. I think it's going to be really good.
Have you ever did a freeze frame on what that cheetah looks like?
No,
Yeah,
that's no.
Do you
That's
really
kinda
need to
what I
take a
was
look at that if you
thinking
think the
because-
thing looks good.
It's really
Okay.
fluffy.
It's like, look, I'm reserving judgment on her overall design as Cheetah because all we've seen is like very fast action shots. Like the only way it's going to make or break it is if we see that mid-frame profile shot with her not doing much and just dialoguing. So
Let me tell you something real quick. This is basically a trailer for a movie that's basically already should have been out already.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else post-production that's going to be done because this movie is done.
Ooh.
So if
Yeah.
they had a good
Point.
shot of her to show, they would have gave us something in this particular trailer because there's no other chances to go back and fix it because this movie is done. We were supposed to have been seeing this thing.
I slightly disagree. I think because after a movie is actually released, how they put that other trailer out that has a little bit more in it that you see. I think that they're still holding that trailer where you'll see a better profile and stuff of her. Because quite frankly, the fact that we now know, boom, she's the villain. I'm like, cool. Because I was very reluctant to watch the trailer because I was like, y'all doing too much. It's like 3 trailers out already. Like, I don't need to see a new one. But this one was fine. I was like, okay, they gave a little bit of, a little bit more. I appreciated that Trevor, what is his name? Trevor?
Steve
Yeah,
Trevor.
Steve Trevor, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated that he was not so much in this trailer, but he was still there, which was irksome to me. So,
Yeah, 'cause they still have to explain how he's there and all that, whatever. But I don't know. Like, part of me feels like it. For one, I'm really hoping that there will be like a sense of worry for Diana this time around, because that was like one of the things about the first movie that is not to say I thought the first movie was bad. I mean, it was mostly good. It had some issues, but like it was mostly good. But my issue is that like even from the trailers and then even after I watched the movie, I didn't have any worry for this character as far as like her safety or anything like that is concerned. So and especially looking at this movie, it's like, dude, like Wonder Woman is busted as hell in this movie, like just from what you've seen. And it's like, dude, like
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about like as far as how broke like her feats that we've seen her do in this movie so far, like in the trailer. Like she's doing like way more than she did in the first movie and Justice League just from the trailers.
You can
Well,
actually see the
swinging on
lasso
lightning.
whip around the lightning this time.
Yeah, swinging on lightning bolts is a little bit excessive. I'm kind of
I'm saying she's
where
busted.
did
That's
that
what I'm
come
saying.
I'm still trying to figure out how in the hell she does that shit. bro.
Hey, again, I even said it last. I think what was it? Probably this past Sunday. Dido and I were talking about that. Like, what if the storm just stopped? Like for real. Like, what if like literally she's swinging on bolts and like Zeus is like, you know what? I'm done playing around. No more lightning today. What's gonna happen? Because apparently this Wonder Woman can't fly.
Yeah,
Invisible jet might be a
She gonna
possibility.
learn if that boat
I
disappears.
guess so.
something.
Yeah,
It's
like what does she do when there is not a lightning storm? Like really? Like come on.
The same thing Spider-Man used to do in Lasso the Clouds. Okay.
Well, there you go. It might be a possibility.
something. So like, I mean, I'm looking forward to the movie to see what they do. I kind of have a feeling that Cheetah's probably not gonna be like, she may be a final fight, but I kind of have like a weird feeling they might do the same thing they did in the first one, because like I believe that there was a shot of Maxwell Lord in that trailer.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I would be surprised like if Cheetah is actually like the final big bag, but I doubt it. Like I highly doubt it. I think she's probably just going to be like a precursor to like the big battle.
I mean,
It seems
there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of things that they could potentially do with it. Coming out of John P checking in. How you doing, sir? He says the sequel always has to step it up a notch, which is very true.
I mean,
Here's the only problem I kind of have with what they've shown with the trailer. I've already kind of deduced one of the biggest plot points, as far as like what the whole movie is based around, and that's kind of the only disappointing thing for me, because they kind of have told too much. Especially, and I'm not going to spoil it for everybody, but if you go back and watch the trailer, all you got to do is just pay attention to what Maxwell Lord is saying, and then all of the things that Kristen Wiig says, or even Diana says about missing Steve or wanting to see Steve, and you can kind of get what I'm you kind of can get what I'm getting at. It kind of reveals kind of like what the plot point is based around. So I don't know. That's the only bad thing, I guess, about it. They weren't clever enough in hiding those plot points.
Oh, you mean the potential they're taking her power?
No. Okay. No, there is basically everything. He's going to find something that's basically going to, tap into wish fulfillment. So basically, whatever your desires, whatever you want to do, that it's going to come true.
Yeah.
Hand of Omega's having a good time in the chat here,
Well,
boys.
yeah, he sure is.
He always does.
You'll be in there.
Peter
King says the
Dinklage
Dreamstone.
Hey, you know what? Peter Dinklage's Dr. Psycho is like just a no-brainer type. That's a no-brainer type deal, man. It really is.
Okay, here's my thoughts on that. Whether it be it's a trade-off where she gets Steve Trevor back, but they get split part of her power or something along those lines. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It's a Wonder Woman story. There's only so far and so much you can go with based on they're setting it in the 80s. And we've already seen stuff that she can do, so it's kind of like John P said, you got to step up the sequel.
Yeah, and I mean, like folks will probably like try to come for my head for this, but I mean, I kind of think that as far as like they had to do something with her, like especially after they, with Captain Marvel and how like strong she wound up being. She basically took out a whole space fleet by herself, damn near. So it's like, yeah, we coming out with another movie with another strong with the strong female hero or whatever. It's like, yeah, like we're gonna have to like tap into like that old god power that she actually is, because I mean that was one of the criticisms with Justice League with her, and it was just like, okay, after seeing her do what she did in the first one, it's like, why does she feel so nerfed in this movie? Like, I don't get
written.
Yeah. All right.
Plot armor.
A little bit of time left, so y'all got any last thoughts to get out? You got to get them out now.
Speaking of Justice League, how do you guys feeling about that trailer?
Oh, for Snyder Cut?
The Snyder Cut trailer. Go ahead, guys.
For one, I think we pretty much got like a good portion of most of the deleted scenes so far. It looks like it's going to be another dreary movie, which was probably Snyder's original.
I mean, it is Zack Snyder.
I mean, they pretty much gave away that like apparently Silas Stone dies fucking with the mother box. We practically see the whole scene with Flash saving Iris. Something with Batman deflecting Parademon blast with just his arm, which I don't know how he's doing that. It's like, look, at this, I'm not necessarily looking forward to seeing this. I'm just not, because it, to me, it's just really just gonna seem like just a longer version of the same film. Some things might be different. They might change up the ending. This, that, they might, maybe, because it's like I'm not putting a whole lot of stock into this thing, because it's, look, it's been 3 years. I'm over the Justice League. I want to see something new. Like, all the stuff that's been surrounding this Snyder cut has just irked me to no end, and it's just, I don't care. I really don't care. I will see it, but I don't care. I really don't care. I'm hoping everybody really wanted this thing, but I personally don't care.
Okay, Yang, go ahead, and then I wanted to throw a question out there to you guys before we wrap up.
You don't have no time for questions. You got Meow Yin, then we're gonna close the show out because falling.
Oh, come on! I really kind of need to ask this. I really need to ask it.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead, Meow Yin.
Ken, ask your question, please.
So my question was, okay, DC Fandome as an experience, do you guys feel like this is something that needs to keep on happening in other avenues? Like, would you like to see Marvel do something like this? Or,
no.
you know,
so anyway, so going back to the what I was going to say is, I'm looking forward to seeing more Cyborg and more Flash. That is the main reason why I wanted to see this quote unquote Snyder cut, whatever you want to call it, this extended movie, because those two characters, in my opinion, did not get justice in the Justice League. So that is what I want to see. It looks like we might see more of it. I guess HBO Max will be the determining factor of when you figure it out, when we see that. So
Pretty much.
All right. Well, that was a very, very interesting discussion that we had this evening, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. We are going to be closing out the show right about now, but you can definitely continue on our Facebook group. Also, we've got Culture Junkies that we do over on YouTube, and we got Culture Junkies that we do on Twitch. So we're pretty much everywhere. Dado, what you got to say before we close it out, sir?
Well, speaking of this stuff, I look forward to seeing the movies. I hope everybody sees them, where we can discuss about them, the movies, the games, all that other stuff in the future. Tagging on the Culture Junkies, we stream video games quite frequently, and I'd like to see you guys in the chat so we can talk about stuff, and maybe I'll play some games. We'll get some things going on over there. Culture Junkies on twitch.tv/Culture Junkies.
Very cool. Well, we want to appreciate it and say thank you to everybody that came in remote for the panel, and Daidakuji for being here in the studio with me. I want to thank everybody in the chats. Thank everybody that viewed. Thank everybody over on EBJON. Is that it?
EJOBN.
OBN.
OBN. Okay. We're gonna get y'all off the watch party. Get y'all over on Twitch one of these days. It's gonna be awesome.
Indeed. Yeah, that would be awesome.
We're gonna definitely close this one out next week. Or we're gonna be potentially bringing a very interesting guest in. So y'all have to make sure you tune in for that. We are here every single Wednesday, 9 Eastern time, 8 Central, 7 Pacific, and no, I'm sorry, not Pacific, 6 Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime in the future over there in Korea, where Miao Yen happens to be calling us from.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. 10 in the morning? God.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. in the future over there with Miao Yen. That's awesome. But so if you guys
lottery numbers,
well, that would be nice. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure you consider supporting us on Patreon. We would definitely love it. We got 3 different tiers to choose from, and DeMarcus Smith, Culture Junkies level tier. This is a shout out specifically to you. Thank you, sir. We are going to close this show out, but thank everybody for joining us. I am GQ, and for the great Daidakuji here in studio, Kenshiro, Gypsy, Miao Yen, and Fallen Marvel on remote. We are the Culture Junkies, and if you're watching this, you are a Culture Junkie. Talk to you guys later.